Hi viewers, welcome back to Sahara TV. My name is Adeola Fayehun. Right now we'll be speaking with Miss Evon Idahosa, who's actually the daughter of Archbishop Benson and Margaret Idahosa, and she's the founder and executive director of PathFinders Justice Initiative. That's an organization that fights against injustice against women and girls in the developing world especially. She's actually a lawyer by training, and she has worked as a partner in a national defense law firm in New York for more than 14 years before going full-time into activism on behalf of women and girls. Miss Evon, welcome to Sahara TV.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah, it's so nice to have you. Okay, first of all, Nigerian election is coming up. Are you excited?
I am excited.
Okay.
I'm excited because I think there's a part of me that's a perpetual optimist. So I love the possibility of hope. And so there's a freshness, I think, that comes, even if it's with an old administration. But I love the idea that there can be hope. And so that's what keeps me excited about anything that happens in general, but particularly in relation to these elections.
What are some of the changes that you're hoping for in Nigeria with this coming election?
I think the primary change is really to have more focus on the individual person as opposed to a certain class of people. So I think that there's been some movement towards more focus on youth particularly, but being a female advocate for women and girls, I think that's the primary area I would like to see more gender equity and girl empowerment focused on.
So far with the campaigns and everything going on in Nigeria, a lot of people have been focusing on the religion of candidates or the academic qualifications. What do you think about that? And in your opinion, what do you think we should focus on right now?
I think it's disappointing because it's the easiest thing, especially in a country like Nigeria that's so religious. It's the easiest thing to kind of be able to shift focus with. It's very elementary, it's very basic, and so I think a lot of candidates use that because it's something that they know that people will automatically relate to. And so I don't think it's very ingenious. Okay. It's not a very smart way, as opposed to focusing on particularly what we need to be focusing on,
like
which
what?
In Nigeria obviously is our national security, which I think is the foremost thing. The girl-child education, maternal mortality rate, we're the second highest in the world. A woman dies in childbirth every 15 minutes in Nigeria. There is approximately 67% of Nigerian women that are illiterate. So there's so many other things that really should be the platform for people's campaign that unfortunately is not.
And speaking of the girl child, and you've been an active member of the Bring Back Our Girls protest. Actually, we have pictures of you. We even have like video of you as well protesting that the Nigerian government needs to do more in bringing back our girls. I want to ask you, has there been any development in regards to that? Do you still have hope? Do you think the Chibok girls will still be returned?
Well, unfortunately, there hasn't been any developments. I mean, I think, most of us were excited back in May of 2014 when we were initially told that the girls were actually located. We know where the girls are, and so there was this excitement that kind of went through those of us who were actively advocating for their return. And obviously, we know what has happened since then, from the failed alleged negotiations to the ceasefire to all of that. It's now going on 300 days, and these girls have still,
9 months.
Still not been returned. And so it's so unfortunate. But I think because there's a part of me that is this optimist that always thinks that things are going to work out for our good. I believe that there is hope, and as I think as an activist, as an advocate for women and girls, you have to maintain that perspective, because otherwise, I mean, I think the work that we do day in, day out is enough to really result in broken hearts. I mean, not just for the girls that we work with, but also for ourselves. And so there is a part of me that will always believe, I don't care how long it takes, there's always a part of me that believes that they'll be back.
And I'm hoping they will put up pictures of you protesting. But I also wanted to say that one of the things that your organization is doing is to work with governments and make them accountable in terms of protecting citizens, and also lobby for new legislations that will ensure security. What has it been like working with the Nigerian government, especially since the kidnapping of the Chibok girls? Have you had anything from the Nigerian government at all?
There hasn't been, you know, unfortunately, the kind of response that I think you would find in the West. A lot of it has been, a lot of the sentiment, I think, has been from the Nigerian government towards the campaign has been that, you know, we're really bringing embarrassment to Nigeria and shame to Nigeria. And as you know, a lot of it has been focused on really trying to shut the campaign down. So unfortunately, there hasn't been the sort of response. You know, one thing I want to make clear is that the campaign is not an anti-government movement. I think a lot of people seem to think that we're focused on just, you know, bringing shame and embarrassment to the government. But all we're saying is that, look, you took an oath to protect life, to protect property. So just do your job. It's a simple, you know, clients come to me as a lawyer, and if I don't show up in court, I get sued. So there is the level of accountability. Absolutely. And so if people put their faith and trust in you, all we're saying is please just do your job. Do your job. Nothing more, nothing less.
And, you know, I was just thinking about the fact that the AU is not sending troops to Nigeria. What do you think about that? Is that what we need? And if yes, why? If no, why not?
Yeah.
And do you think something concrete will come out of this?
You know, I mean, I think historically, Nigeria has had such a strong army. I mean, I'm a proud Nigerian no matter where I go. And, you know, I believed that because of our history, I mean, we've helped so many other countries,
we were the ones that used to go and
exactly. And so
Sad.
I think initially my belief was that, and my hope was that this would be something that would be eradicated very quickly because we have
the AU.
Exactly, because we have the ability to do it. Nigeria is an amazing country with amazing people who have incredible talent, and so my initial thought was, I mean, we're Nigerians. You know, there's part of us that just has a pride in not necessarily getting assistance from other people. You can have a guy who, you know, makes 2,000 naira a month and has no bucket to piss in, but there's a pride and a level of that we have, you know. And so that was my hope initially. But at this point in the game, I'm willing to take help from anybody that knows what they're doing and is genuinely interested in the people as opposed to what they can get out of Nigeria. And so with the AU's assistance, if that's what it's going to take, I'm all for it.
And speaking of the girl chat and how you've been speaking out, and I know that your parents were like one of the founders of like Pentecostal churches in Nigeria, which is great. I just wanted to ask you the role of the present church leaders that we have in Nigeria today. What do you think about it? Do you think they can do more? Do you think they're doing more than enough?
Yeah.
In terms of the common people?
Yeah. You know, I think one thing that my mother always taught me, and she didn't put it in these words, but this is how I've come to phrase it as an adult, is that God's justice requires not just compassion, which is what a lot of the church has, because we pray. Nigerians love to pray. We pray. But it also requires a level of activism. You can't just pray about something and then sit by. I mean, if you look at the example of Jesus Christ, for example, I think he was one of the biggest advocates or biggest activists. You know, they didn't call it that obviously back then, but he was an example of combination of both compassion and activism. And so that if Christ is supposed to be the example that we're following, then that's what we really should be doing. And unfortunately, I don't see a lot of our larger church leaders doing that. I mean, a lot of focus has been on support for one presidential candidate or the other, but it's about time that we take a stand, right? And we say, look, there's a lot of compassion, and that's what we're supposed to be doing as Christians. We're supposed to be empathetic, but there's also an element of really taking a stand and doing whatever it takes to bring justice.
And, you know, speaking of justice, you've been working a lot in terms of sex trafficking, not just in Nigeria, but in other places. And you're actually from Edo State, which has a huge percentage of sex trafficking, and I mean, going on right now. And interestingly, you were telling me that the funny thing is you have churches like almost everywhere in Edo State, yet this is going on. You want to tell us a little bit about why do you think this is still going on? And you said 80% of the sex traffickers are from Edo State?
80% of the girls that are trafficked out to Italy.
Of the girls that are trafficked to Italy are from
Edo State.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's huge.
It's unfortunate. I think it's a combination of the fact that our economy is just so poor. And so you can have a college graduate in Nigeria that went to school, put in the time, did well, came out with a first-class degree, and is making less money. Or is, first of all, may have no job, but is making less money than somebody who works at a Starbucks here in the US. And so when an opportunity comes up that appears, at least, to present itself as a way of getting out of this situation, you can't really blame, I think, a lot of people for saying, at least let me just try it. And worst case scenario, I can always get out. But the reality is that when they actually are, when they actually become part of this, it's so difficult. You end up owing, thousands and thousands of dollars or euros to your madame when you get to Italy. And there's a level of debt bondage that it's not the kind of thing you can easily walk away from. And so it doesn't just strip you, I think, physically, but emotionally it does a lot of damage. But I think, again, it stems back to the fact that our economy is just not really something that's a priority for our government.
If anybody from Edo State is watching you right now, any girl that has no job and has been through school and she's contemplating maybe going to Italy or something, what kind of message would you have for her if you could just look at that camera and just, talk to somebody?
I want you to know that there are other opportunities. There are various skill acquisition centers that will offer you free training. If you contact us, I'm more than happy to put you in touch with those. And I want you to know that your life is a lot more valuable than the reality of what you'll experience in Italy. And so if you just need an opportunity, just get in touch with us. I can connect you with so many different organizations that are working in Nigeria to stem this issue. And so there is hope, so please don't take that path.
And how can people reach your organization?
You can reach us, we have a National Child Sex Abuse hotline. We also have a rape hotline that's on our website, which is PathFindersJI.org. You can also send an email to us at info@pathfindersji.org.
And my last question, the Nigerian government is trying to postpone the election for 6 weeks.
I have to tell you that I'm not a fan of that, because I think the Nigerian people deserve the opportunity to have their voices heard and have them heard now. Yeah, it's unfortunate that something that we were all thinking was a rumor a few weeks ago is actually now our reality, and it gives us a sort of it really takes away from the presence that those of us who are trying to really work to build a different face of Nigeria, it really takes away from that effort, because I think people look at us and don't really take us, very seriously. It's really unfortunate.
I think it also takes away credibility from the presidency as well, like just stick to your word.
Absolutely.
But I can thank you, for honoring our invitation and coming in the studio of Sahara TV today.
Thank you.
We really appreciate having you.
Thanks for
All right,
having me.
viewers, that has been Miss Evon Idahosa, and I'm sure that you really enjoyed our time with us here at Sahara TV. We're still covering the election. We're still keeping you up to date in terms of whether the election has been postponed or not. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.